SwiZzy B, what's good with you, man?
Chillin', yo. Just got back into town, working.
I know, I see you, man. You on tour a lot, man, with Snow the Product.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Shit
my
crazy,
favorite artist
man.
and shit too. So it's kind of like a weird dream come true type shit.
Shout out to Iconic Studios. You know,
Thanks.
First interview in Iconic Studios, so shout out to Iconic.
Shout out Iconics.
But I mean, it's first time on the platform, man.
Yeah.
So I want to take it to the beginning a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Get a feel for who you are, you know what I'm saying? So you were born in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, Brooklyn, New York. Yeah.
Okay. How was that growing up there in Brooklyn?
Well, I was there. I moved out of there when I was like really young, like 5 years old. So like, you know what I'm saying? I was raised out in Florida, so I'm more of like, that's what I remember growing up as a childhood. You know what I'm saying?
Orlando is pretty much where you were raised?
Yeah, exactly. There in St. Pete too. St. Pete when I did like my elementary and middle school, like a little bit of middle school, but I did like my 8th grade and all my high school and all that here in Orlando.
Growing up, how was it? Like, how was your childhood like?
I mean, if you're like a Spanish, like your typical Spanish family, yo, like we eating rice and beans every day. We didn't really have that much money like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? We was on food stamps. We had I have a brother, a sister, a half brother in Puerto Rico I ain't never met. You know, like the family's big. It's like the typical Spanish thing. Not a lot of attention, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to like when you're a parent and you come from like a different like island or like just a different background like that, like you're like in the mentality of, oh, I have to work constantly to provide for my family. Right. So when you're in that mentality though, like you don't really, you know, have attention to be shown to your kids like that. So like it was really just me and my family, like as far as like me and my sisters and my brothers. Okay. And yeah, and that's like once they moved out, it was just like straight to the streets type of shit.
Okay. How big is the family?
Like your
immediate family.
My immediate family. I got my little sister and my older brother, and then I got my mom and my pops and shit. But like, yeah, it goes a little bit beyond that.
When you got older, did it get any more tougher? Were you involved in streets or anything like that, or like? I mean, or just the typical bullshit that
you know the typical bullshit. Like I wasn't like gangbanging and shit like that. Like I wasn't like all my homies and shit was doing all that. But like I was always really into music and shit from when I was like 15, 16 years old. What I was really I was really like making money, and like I had a lot of, you know, shit going on when I was young. Well, I was all juvenile type shit, so like I was moving a lot of like work and shit or whatever, had mad weed or whatever and shit like that. We was on the news when we was like juveniles, and they had to remove the whole shit off the news and shit because they found out we was juveniles. This happened in Orlando and shit too when I was 17. It was like a whole crazy raid that happened at my crib and shit. It was actually pretty nuts. But like that's when everybody started like noticing who I was and shit, and was like, yo, that's the little kid that be with the fire ass weed and shit. So like ever since then I was like, I'm gonna take that attention and just start putting it towards like my music and shit like that. But I moved out when I was 16 years old, so as far as like a childhood, it was definitely like tough. I felt like I didn't have that attention that like every, you know, family, like mother and dad would probably give their kids and shit. I was really like turning to like older like people and shit outside. So, yeah, I was really outside with it. And that was really like my influence and shit.
I mean, when you moved out, you said 16, right?
Yeah, 16.
So when you moved out, did you have to do like legal documentation for you to leave?
Nah, it was like one of those.
And they just let you go?
Yeah, type shit. Because I was already like running away from home since I was like 13 years old, and I was gone for like months. Like it wasn't even like, oh, a couple days, something. It was like months at a time and shit. So when it got to that point, and it was kind of like a mutual understanding, like, yo, I'm literally going to live down the street like 10 minutes away. Y'all don't want all this traffic and stuff coming to y'all spot anyways. Like, it's the best thing to do. I'm still going to go to school. I was going to Winter Park High School at the time. Okay. So, like, I was still going to school. And, like, I was just doing that. And then, yeah, that thing happened when we got raided and shit. And then that's when I ended up getting transferred over to Winter Park, and I went to that Loma charter. Yeah. If you're from the east side of Orlando, you know exactly where a Loma charter is. I went to a Loma charter school, and I literally got my, you know, diploma or whatever they call it, coming from that shit there. And then that's when I literally was like full-time music at that point. It was literally right after that situation happened to me.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like normal childhood definitely wasn't normal. That's for damn sure. I tried doing sports and shit, but like my parents couldn't afford to like get the equipment and like put me in that kind of shit. So like I didn't have like the extracurricular shit, even though I wanted to so bad. Like I would be outside playing with my friends, but at the same time, it's like we playing catch, playing the game. Then after we would go, smoke, meet up with the plug and shit like that. It wasn't like he was talking to the coach and then we got picked up. It was a whole different kind of childhood, and that was like when I was 12. I started getting into weird like shit like that. Like I said, it was never like gang banging type shit, but like I was stealing cars and doing stupid shit. I was a little ass kid and shit with like no guidance really. So how's your relationship now with your family? It's a lot better. A lot better, yeah. Like I went to, during those times and shit, I did 2 like 9.5 month stay at these little programs and shit. Yeah. They're like juvenile programs to like help change your behavior and shit like that. They make you do like counseling, and there's like a bunch of other kids in there and shit. Everybody's like under 18 and shit like that. Yeah. But like it's like one of those facilities and shit, and like that's really where I like try to like find peace with them and myself, because I was resenting them for so much shit, and I was just like doing almost like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and rob this house because my parents don't love me type shit. And like I was crazy like that when I was younger and shit. So like I don't know, it took me a lot. After that second time I got out of that program, I got really into like writing poetry and shit like that. I think that helped me a lot too. As of now, as an adult, we talk all the time and shit. They just sent my kids like some fucking presents and shit just out of nowhere and shit. So like it's gotten way better from when I was a kid, but it's definitely something we still working on for sure. Like definitely.
When did music start getting shown to you, like introduced to you?
Like for the first time?
Yeah, for the first time. Like when you start like,
because it was like I said, I was in the I was really, first let me say this, I was really into rock music. Okay. Like I like Linkin Park, Incubus.
I mean, it shows in your music now.
Green Day,
straight rock star status, man.
So I like was really into that. It wasn't until I got into those programs where I really like started listening to like hip hop and rap, because everybody was listening to that, and like there was people in there that was actually rapping. So when they started rapping and freestyling, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna try it too, because I was already writing poetry like I was telling you. Yeah. And then like it just easily translated. Like I was the youngest one in there too. I was like 13 or 14 at the time. Okay. Everybody else was like 17, about to be 18, about to go up the road type deals. So like when I started spitting, they just went crazy, like the simplest rhymes or so, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think I remember it too. I was like, what'd I say? I was like, gradually crafting the craft of rap rapidly. You can get it on Rhapsody to make these rappers mad at me. And they went crazy, because it was like a little 15-year-old kid with like bars like that. Because I wasn't rapping like, I'm out here drilling and doing all that, and I still don't. So it's like, I think that right there was some. The fact that I was young, I was some. And like when I seen that reaction, that's what made me like, ooh, I could actually do this. And I actually like the feeling of doing it. Like it's way better than being out in the streets. So I like try to do that. The first time it was like I was still really young, but the second time when I went in there, I got out when I was 16, and that's when I was like, I need to change some shit.
From that point, when did it transition to you taking it serious? Like, I might have something here, and I should probably capitalize on it.
Yeah, honestly, it wasn't even until like 2016 and shit when I moved to Colorado. Because a lot of people don't know, like, they think I just disappeared. I actually moved to Colorado. Well, the people that are supporting me, they know. I moved to Colorado, was out there for like 2.5 years. And at that point, like, I had like this crazy hustle. I knew how like the Orlando scene worked out here and how hard you had to grind to really even make the smallest name for yourself out here. So I had that mentality going out to Colorado. And out there, their scene was like non-existent almost out there. Like really, it was really, there was like maybe I can count on both my hands how many artists were doing even like 50,000 streams and stuff and getting on like, the big shows and stuff.
Are there a lot of artists out there, or it's very few?
Thousands of artists out there. But when I was out there, there was only like, oh, have you heard of this guy, or whatever? And I was just like, no, let me plug in with them. So long story short though, went out to Colorado, and that's pretty much when I started getting take it serious, because I started getting these crazy opportunities. I opened up for Zero out there, Young Dolph, and these were shows that I was getting just off of my normal work ethic that I had out here in Orlando. That was just getting me booked at regular showcases and stuff. Like I was just bringing that over there, selling my tickets, my little 40, 50 tickets for every show, and they were loving that out there. And that's how I like grew that like relationship with a lot of people out in Colorado. Like even to this day, I think that's where like most of my fans are. Like when you go on my Spotify thousands of everything's going back to Colorado, and it's crazy because I was only out there for like 2 years. So it was just like the impact that I did, because I went out there with the mentality of like, I'm not doing nothing but music. And like my shorty, she was with me, and like she told me straight up, like, I don't even want you, because when I was in Florida, I was literally trapping. I was paying for everything, everything type of shit. So when we went out there, we like kind of switched the tables, and she was like, I don't want you doing nothing but focusing on music. And I think that was like the turning point of when I was like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do forever and shit. Because she literally gave me like that year to do that, and within that year, I literally made like shit that I didn't even believe I was going to be able to make happen. When I was doing the shows with Young Dolph, I met up with Snow the Product, and that was all within like a year and a half time span. And then from there, it was just like starting to go into, I started throwing my own shows so I could start making like my own money, like doing my own headlining shit. And that started growing from like 50 to 100. Now I go to Colorado, I'm pulling 250, 300 people under my own name. We have like 2 headliners last time we did it, or 2 opening acts last time we did it. So it's not even like it's stacked with 10 opening acts and shit. We're doing all that shit just off our own name. And all the way from out here too. We're not even over there no more like how we used to, like hand selling tickets like how we used to. And then we just did one over in Sanford in this past January as part of our like headlining tour. Just did 250 there. So like it's just crazy how the fan base spreads, and like how all that worked out all from like 2016. From that, literally moving out to Colorado was like a switch in my whole like career and life.
Before you moved out there to Colorado, Live Life Crew was already created?
Yeah, that was the thing. That was the thing that started in 2012.
Okay.
Me, my homie Manly Grand Flight, and my homie Shaq Getter. We were literally the 3 people that started it. Okay. And then since then, it had like, because it's a record label. It started at a record label. It was licensed as a record label.
Right.
So we had tons of artists like come in and out. But like at the point where we built it, it's still licensed and everything as a record label, but at the point where we're at now, it's pretty much moving like on some music collective, like a modern day Wu-Tang kind of thing. Okay. Like everybody is individual artists, and they can literally go out and venture off and get their own stuff. But we do come back and we do tour as a group. We do songs as a group. We have our first group project coming out. Right. So like we are a group, and like I think that's where it's like turned into now. Even though it's like a record label, it's turned more into like a rap group, music collective kind of thing.
Okay. So how did you link up with you said Get 'em?
Shaq Get 'em,
and what's the other one again?
Manly Grand Flight.
Manly Grand Flight.
Yeah, those are the first 2 on there, because right now it's like Shaq, he's still on Loud Life, but he don't make music no more. My homie Man, he's still with us, and then I got 2 other artists too, Noopy Naaman and Marvelous.
Right.
And those are the 2 that I met in Colorado, and like that's when we like fused everything together. Okay. But I met Shaq and Man back in 2011. Just off some like in the streets type shit, just trying to serve them gas and whatever like that. And they was rapping already by then too. And like I said, I was 16, just starting to like want to do something like that. So I was always around them, freestyling with them, watching them like record and shit like that.
Right.
And that's when we had that conversation. Like, yo, let's start a group. Because they always thought I was dope. It was that same effect. Like, oh, he's super young and it's dope. It's like hearing him spit and shit. It wasn't trash. Yeah. I don't think I was ever trash, honestly, when I was rapping. Like, maybe like way back, but I don't know. To me, I was never trash.
How did you guys go about as a group start promoting yourselves as far as, you know, we're going to take this leap and, you know, we're looking to the future. We're like, okay, we're going on tour. What was the step that y'all did to get to where y'all at now, right now?
I mean, it was a lot. Like I said, it was on some real life Wu-Tang. We had about 12 members at one point. Okay. So it was definitely trials and tribulations, a lot of, what do they say, make this sound good, a lot of backstabbing and trickery. It was a lot though. It was a lot of typical business, like random stuff. But like, I always look at it like the strong always survive, the weakest links always cut themselves out. So as I look at it, but like I said, it did come from like a lot of people not wanting to put in the work, a lot of jealousy of other people that are putting in the work and getting kind of the time on stage and the time on whatever we got going on. Yeah. So a lot of people just kind of removed themselves out. I never like literally kicked anybody off. They kind of just slowly removed themselves. But to answer the question, we got to the point by literally just working consistently and really just believing in the vision. I think the self-belief is more than anything, because like the people that are currently with me right now from the very beginning believed in this shit like exactly how I believed in it. And like you add everybody else that got removed from the very beginning, you could tell that it wasn't going to work. Yeah. And like that's how I just look back on it now, and it's just like how it's moving now. I just think it's truly just self-belief, like real life manifestation. The universe works in crazy ways type shit. Because a lot of people be looking at me like, you're crazy, how you gonna pull that off? And then when I pull it off, it's like, that's crazy, you pulled that off. And it's just like, I think it's truly just self-belief, because if you're telling yourself you can't do it, then you're not gonna put the effort into doing it. So it's like just simple as that. I think we just really truly believed in our vision and our goals that we could really reach them and shit. Because we talk every single day. Nupi, he's in Colorado still. Marv, he moved out here, so he lives with me. Man, he lives out here in Orlando and shit. So we like communicate, have our group chats and all that every single day to speak on our goals and pretty much what we got going on as individual artists and how we're gonna grow as a group too. And these are everyday chats that we have. So it's like,
and y'all doing this all independent, right?
Yeah. We got approached by independent labels, managers. We don't have none of that. And we like, and it's only because we just feel like once more outsiders get involved, it's like it starts getting a little bit messy. So I think once we're at a point where it's absolutely a necessity to need something like that, that's when we're going to start bringing people in. But as of right now, we're kind of doing everything ourselves. We can book our own tours and like everything. So
does it seem like it might be a necessity in the future? Because the rate y'all going,
I'm not gonna lie, in the near future,
seeing.
Because right now it's really just if we want to keep it 100 right now, it's really just financial situations. We need somebody to speak on our value for us, because when we come to people for certain things, like for example, we wanted to go on tour with Kevin Gates. We couldn't do that just off of like us coming up to him. We needed a manager to speak for us. We needed like a certain like hit song, you know what I'm saying? There's certain things that like, regardless of how many people we can pull in whatever city, there's like certain like smoke and mirrors, I like to say, that you need. You have to have the smoke and mirrors and shit, and to get in certain positions, and having a manager speak for you, a label put you on playlisting and shit like that. It's all smoke and mirrors and shit, because that's gonna run up your numbers, can make you look like a poppin' artist regardless. Because like any song, Ice JJ Fish can be on Rap Caviar and he's gonna make millions of streams, like, you know what I'm saying? But the Loud Life thing wasn't easy. In 2012 it started. It wasn't until about 2018 where I think we had the people that we have till today. Yeah, so 2018 was like, all right, this is it. Like, we're not even adding no more people. Anyone else that drops off, it's a wrap. And everybody stood since then.
What was y'all very first tour show?
Kirko Bangs.
Kirko Bangs.
Drink in My Cup, yeah. That was the first time we ever hit the road. And that came out of nowhere. Our homie Nick had booked the whole tour with Kirko Bangs, and he had him like 4 dates in Montana and like a couple other dates in surrounding areas, and he literally put us on the whole thing. And it's crazy because we actually met Kirko on the first date, and when we went to, it was this place called Whitefish, Montana, right? They don't know anything about rap or hip hop in that city over there, but we love that place. Every time we go over there, they turn up. Well, anyways, this is the first time we went over there. It was with Kirko Bangs. They thought we was Kirko Bangs, the rap group. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just put that out there. This is where we're at. We walk in and they thought we was Kirko Bangs, the rap group. They brought us down to the VIP or whatever, where his green room was, where they had all his Henny bottles, and they were like, "Oh, this is yours." So we started busting the bottles open and drinking all them shits, like going live on Instagram and shit. And then like literally like 10 minutes before Kirko pulls up and shit, the guy comes down. He's like, "Wait a minute, y'all aren't Kirko?" I was like, "We didn't say we was Kirko. You just literally brought us to the green room as soon as we walked in this bitch, like expecting, I don't know, we didn't know." And he was like, "Oh no, Kirko's coming and shit." So like they went and grabbed a whole nother bottle from upstairs or some shit, brought it back down. Kirko ends up coming in. We tell him the whole story. This dude laughs for like 10 minutes straight, like dying laughing, like, "No way!" Like a tear comes comes down, his eyes tight laughing. He's calling his DJ like, Bruce, come down here, bro. Tell him the story again. And ever since then, locked in with Kirko. Drank his Henny. It was a whole situation. But that was our first tour right there. It was Kirko Banks. Shout out Kirko Banks. That's still our bro.
You guys' catalog is crazy as far as touring.
Yeah.
Y'all like Tech Nine.
Tech Nine was on one of our biggest shows too. Young Dolph was one of our
Cap G also?
Yeah, we got a song with Cap G. Toured with Cap G in a couple places. We went to Texas, Arkansas, Colorado, all types of shit.
And then your latest, the Shoreline Mafia one. That one must have been crazy.
That one was crazy. And it was crazy. That was right before they signed to Atlantic, when they were like buzzing and they got the news and they were like, when they were at their biggest point, we did that show. It was fucking nuts. I met all of them. OGZ, Phoenix Flex, and they was cool as shit. Yeah. All of them boys was cool as shit.
What do you think about their situation now? How they kind of like...
I'll tell you right now, me and my team talk about that every single day. You don't want to turn up like Shoreline Mafia shit. I think the biggest thing is money when it comes to that. Like, we got to have an understanding of, like, when that money starts coming in, like, you can't let it change you type shit. Long story short. And, like, we have these conversations every day. It's like, yo... It don't matter who the fucking star of this shit is when this shit blows up, because there's always going to be the one and shit. Right. Like, you got to always remember that, like, it's a blessing just to be in the position that we're going to be in, and, like, just always stay grateful and humble, and, like, that alone, I think, all those problems and shit, because the ego gets involved and shit gets fucking twisted.
Exactly. Let's talk about some differences between Colorado and Orlando.
Oh, man.
So... You were saying earlier how
it was good and bad in both. I'll tell you that right now.
So you're saying how like you were selling tickets out there. They liked the way you were moving and stuff like that out there. What's kind of the major differences as far as trying to promote yourself out there compared to here in Orlando?
I think in Colorado, man, I love Orlando. I love Orlando, but when it comes to certain kind of like artists, I think they don't have an open ear to it. And I'm just keeping it 100. Tyler Yahweh, he's from out here. He don't get no love out here like how he's supposed to. He be going on tour with Post Malone doing 20,000, you know what I'm saying, people, stadiums, and like they don't talk about him in no blogs or none of that. And I feel like they should. He's dope. They always talk about Hot Boy, but you know he's Hot Boy. He's popping. He's the face of Orlando as of right now, I feel like. But the Colorado scene, they're open to everything. It don't matter if you make drill music, if you rapping on about some parody like rhymes. If you're good at what you do, if you have the skill, you're gonna gain fans out there. Compared to Orlando, it's more of like tailored to a certain sound, low key. Like almost like a Kodak sound is what I'm noticing. Like if you sound like Kodak, low key, shit gonna bust out here. I'm just speaking what I see. Right. That's literally what I be seeing and shit. And like, I don't know. Yeah, the versatility is definitely a lot more out there, for sure. But I think the skill level is over here in Florida for sure. Like when it comes to like the people that actually can rap, right? It's out here. Like people are writing hits. Like getting Hot Boy, he's a perfect example of like a new modern day artist that be writing hits. He got songs with like Future and like all types of artists. He was just on, you know that show I did with Snow the Product at the Mission Ballroom? Okay. He was just there with Polo G. So it's like he's doing thousands of stadiums and shit too.
What are your views on like Orlando? Do you think someone has a stranglehold on Orlando as far as, you know, that top artist? Or you think it's up for the taking?
The top artists?
Yeah.
I mean, there's artists. There's definitely artists.
I mean,
like
there's definitely artists.
But like I said.
But do you think there's an artist that really...
put respect on Hot Boy. You got to put respect on... I feel like me personally, I'm from the east side, so I know who Ratchet is, and I put respect on Ratchet and shit because I feel like he's another artist that I feel like kind of different with the flow, and that's why a lot of people don't fuck with him. But like his music and his delivery and shit, like everything is just perfect. Like that nigga he should be blown up by now. And like there's artists, like I said, there's artists, but as far as the stranglehold, I don't think there's anybody that has that yet. Because look. For example, who are you gonna say? Like, who would you say just off the top of your head right now? Like, if somebody just came up to you, like, who do you think is the number one artist right off the top of your head? Who would you say?
I mean, from Orlando, I mean, you got, okay, like you said, Hot Boy. Mm-hmm.
Cut 'em
Then you
Reese.
got, Loose Cannon,
Loose Cannon Take Off.
Tony Boy.
Tony, yeah, I like that new song he dropped too.
Yeah. I mean, that's just off the top of the head right now.
And see, all those artists, and I don't want to sound like a hater, but all those artists that you just named, like, how many of them are, like, touring off their own name? How many of them actually really got multiple of these hits? I know Hot Boy definitely does for sure, but, like, he also got a whole management team, a whole label, and a whole machine behind him, too. Yeah. So if we're talking about, like, now we got to separate it. What are we talking about? We talking about signed artists, or we talking about artists really doing it type shit? Because it's like a difference too. Because a lot of these signed artists aren't really doing it; they just have the machine behind them. And then there's people like, for example, shout out Ratchet, doing that shit for real. I literally see him every day, like out and working, shaking hands, taking pictures. So it's just weird, like. When it comes to the stranglehold, I don't think no one has a stranglehold on Orlando. It's still up for grabs.
Nope.
There's nobody doing like, Who you bring up New York? Who's going to say Cardi B, right? Who's our Cardi B? Who's our A Boogie with a hoodie or Fabio Foreign? Like literally, I don't know. I can't name who that is in Orlando, and that's exactly why I would say it is up for the taking 100%, because we don't have that established. We don't got our Jack Harlow, our hometown hero, like for real,
so
for real.
You think it's because we're not as like together like we should? You think Orlando could be like Atlanta one day? I absolutely do 100% believe that, and it's just crazy because I think we could be even bigger than Atlanta. Like I think we could be the city, because that's how much talent, that's how much connections and influence just this city has. But man, it's just, remember what I said earlier about egos? Yeah, ego is a killer, yo, and it's just a lot of that in Orlando. And I think if we all could put that ego aside, like maybe for just 12 months type shit, I think something amazing will happen for a lot of people out here. Like there's too many shootings, too much shit that's not music happening, that's ruining music, like the music shit and the growth of people that could like feed their families and get people out of like projects and hoods and shit, and they're like throwing it away over like ego at the end of the day and shit. And I know it runs deep and shit. Like I said, I'm not a gangbanging like at all type shit. I know it runs deep, but at the same time, like, we're gonna be doing this shit forever type shit, or are we really gonna be the next city to be like Atlanta or LA was at one point? And I think just that alone, just really putting shit aside, putting ego aside, would literally change a lot of things in Orlando, just the music scene alone. But besides that, I mean, artists trying to make it out here in Orlando, you think they can, or you think they have to go somewhere else and come back? Because in your situation is kind of different. You kind of moved. And then
we're talking about just the average artist.
Yeah, like
the average artist.
The average artist.
The average artist is gonna have to get out of Orlando. You'll be the Orlando god. That's 100%. I've seen it. I've seen 3-4 of them, the Orlando ones. But once you like are that, you gotta get out of here, yo. Or what are you gonna just keep doing the same shows at Guilt and Tier and wherever else every year in and year out? You gotta get out. I know a lot of people can't leave the country because, you know what I'm saying, like legal issues and stuff, but you can still travel America. I don't know. I think Orlando, like if you have the certain sound, like Hot Boy, perfect example. Yeah, he could stay in Orlando and blow up. He's proving that right now as we speak. I think Cut 'em Reese has a really good shot at it, especially if he gets the machine behind him too. Yeah, and like there's a lot of people that got a good shot at it, but it's just not happening. Like I don't see it happening for me personally. I don't see nobody like that was born and raised in Orlando, that's only in Orlando and only doing Orlando or even Florida stuff, like reaching that point of like Drake, for example, you know what I'm saying, or like a Russ. Even Russ just did 17,000 people. I'm trying to be like that, you know what I'm saying? You gotta get out your city to do shit like that. You can't be stuck in the same city performing for the same crowd year in and year out. That's not how you grow as an artist. Like, a lot of people spend money on advertisement, stuff like that, but that only goes so far too. Like, that real life people interaction, people like, that's what people want. And that's why at least how I grew my fan base was literally shaking hands, taking pictures, literally getting off the stage and going into the crowd, like literally like jumping from the stage into the crowd and like networking straight after my performance and doing shit like that. And like, a lot of people ask me too, like, yo, how you get so many followers or how you have so much engagement? I literally, like, when I say the footwork, I literally did the footwork. It's not following people back and having them follow me and doing that weird shit or commenting on their post or DMing people. Half of the people that follow me I probably met in real life type shit and took their phone and followed my own shit. Like, so it's like, a lot of people don't understand that the actual footwork is the realest way to grow your fan base. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna post a music video and buy 50,000 views on that shit and fucking hopefully the algorithm picks it up and we blow up from there. Like, hell no. Like, that's so fucking, you have to have a good song for that, for one, and then on top of that, like, it's just so much behind that shit, like, and everybody's just doing that, and it's just, it makes people that actually grind, that really fucking get that shit, look bad, because we're even trying to get our shit organically, but you got people getting with 50K fake followers getting bigger show opportunities just because they got 50K fake followers. Makes no sense. Can't even pull 100 people to the show, but are getting paid 2 bands to perform. It makes no sense. So it's a lot of shit like that, I feel like, that's going on too in Orlando that wasn't going on in Colorado. A lot of like weird, I got clout but really don't have no clout, because they have 1 million views on YouTube but your headlining shows have like 50 people in them. That don't add up at all. So I think that's another thing. A lot of like, who's actually really popping is like, I feel like the question when you ask who has the hold, we got to start who's really popping first. I feel like you got to separate the. You know what I'm saying?
So who you think is really popping?
Like I said, me personally, I don't have no one as the stronghold, but I'm always gonna give it a Hot Boy just because of the features he got, the streams he's getting, the people he's around, the things he's currently doing and shit. But like, as far as the stronghold, like if he beats his Fed case, he might fuck around and get it. And he might be able to leave the country and do some shit and actually tour off his own name without having any like issues. But like, I don't think he's done his own like headlining tour yet, right?
I don't think he has.
How are we gonna crown somebody that hasn't even headlined their own tour yet? You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. I was just somebody that's been doing it for 10 years. Like, Jack Harlow's a perfect example of a hometown hero, because he literally goes to his hometown, sells out every time, and then he leaves the hometown and sells out everywhere else he goes off of his own name. So I get like that. So he has, you know, his city type shit. Drake has Toronto. Nobody else is doing that. We just don't have nobody that's like doing this, and he's the only person doing this, and it's just so amazing and unfathomable that he's doing this thing. It's like everything that everybody's doing in Orlando, anybody can do with the right money and knowing the right person, and that's my biggest thing.
You think that's a downfall? That
is a downfall, and I feel like that's why people. Skill levels are, we all know skill level don't really even matter no more. I hope Kendrick's album brings that shit back, even for 1 year type shit. We'll see. It's always going to be about like who's got the money, who's going to put it up for what, and then who fucks with who type shit, and then like that even runs deeper, like what hood you from type shit. How you think we break that cycle though? Unity, talking to each other, putting egos aside. I think literally communicating. People want to talk all the time, but nobody wants to listen. And I think like if we sat down and listened to each other, maybe we would have a better understanding of each other. This is shit like that. Like, but you know, like people hear me talking, they're gonna be like, the fuck this nigga talking about? First of all, he ain't in the streets, he don't gangbang, he don't know what the fuck going on and shit. But I do know life. I do know how energy works, and I know how positivity works in people's lives, and like that's just how it should work. That's just how energy in the universe works. You put out what you get. You doing all this crazy shit, you're gonna have a bunch of crazy shit come back to you. Put out a lot of good, you're gonna have a lot of good come back to you. And I just think if everyone was on the good waves, and that's what if the whole city was doing fucking amazing shit like that? The energy's gonna come right back to the city, and that's what I mean. Then you're the next door ATL or LA, and like I really feel like talent wise, we could take any city and any like state. Like I mean,
we definitely got the talent here.
That's what I'm saying.
That's for sure.
Like when it comes to talent, that's not even the thing. Our problem is the background, you know. Yeah. It's the bullshit, the culture. It's the culture of all of it, you know. And it sucks because I love this shit. I just started noticing this past year that Orlando really, like, other than like my core base and shit, like it's hard to crack. Like they're not spinning fucking SwiZzy in the club, no matter how clubbish I make a song and shit. And it's just because that's just really not my sound or like my style, like my image. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't fit any of that shit. So like to put me in a fucking tier nightclub setting is it's not right. I belong on like shit that's big where I can jump around and shit. Like I can't perform like at a VIP section the way I perform on a stage, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of other artists, they rather do that. I'd rather be in a fucking VIP section, that way I don't have to do no crazy shit on stage and shit. I love performing, so it's just different shit. It's so different. I think it just boils back down to the money. A lot of people want money. Making music off money once you're popping is easy and shit.
Now with the success that you guys are having right now, was there any like some struggles that you guys had to go through as far as like in the industry?
Oh yeah, like I said, we don't have no management or anything like that. So a lot of people, and like I said, like our social media, if you look at all our stuff, it's all organic. So like when a lot of promoters that are doing bigger shows look at our stuff, they kind of don't. Like I said, it doesn't matter how many people. It doesn't matter. We could pull 200 people out in Colorado for a big show. We only got 15,000 followers on Instagram. We're going to put the guy who has 75K, you know what I'm saying, regardless type of shit, just because he looks like he's more popular, and they're going to think, and that's the biggest problem is like, and that's what I was telling you earlier too. I think we're getting soon to a part where we are going to need management and stuff like that, because like they just don't take you serious. It don't matter like when it comes to like certain things, and you got to have somebody to explain and like literally speak on certain things. Because if you sit here, you know how many rappers hit up venues or promoters talking about I could pull 100 people to the club and then don't do it. Yeah. So I'm just another rapper hitting them up, telling them I can pull 100 people to the club. Right. They don't actually know I could do it. So like I think that's the biggest thing. And like like a manager or somebody that's good with business, they'll have fucking a graph with shit, you know what I'm saying? And like I don't know any of that shit. So it's like certain shit like that. Because right now I think we would be in a higher position if we had somebody speaking for us. So like it's all a balance thing, yo. It's a roller coaster, I feel like, low key. Okay. It's definitely a roller coaster ride. Yeah, it has its ups and downs and shit. Like getting on tours is one of the hardest fucking shits to ever do. And like people are like, I set my own tour up and like people would hit me up like, bro, let me hop on tour with you and shit. Like it just didn't cost me fucking almost $10,000 to put the whole shit together and shit. So it's like, it's just crazy. Like it's crazy shit.
How's the shows like? Because I remember I watched this one video. It's just straight energy, non-stop. Crowd going stupid. Like, has it always been like that since the very first show?
Oh, no. Fuck no.
Because, like, all the shows I've been watching, I'm like, yo, it's like energy.
Nah, this is actually something that we worked on during the pandemic type shit.
Okay.
Like, our shows were actually very, all right. Put your hands together. Like very old school shit. I don't know why. But like that's what we was on. But like during the pandemic, we were able to like sit down, really rehearse, really craft like the music that we like wanted to work on. Because a lot like in Colorado, like I said, it's all about skill level back there and shit. So like we was really on some bar heavy, like how can I come up with the most cleverest metaphor and like punchline and put it all together and shit. Which like we still do that and shit now for like our music and shit. But like now we having fun with our music. And I think once we actually started having fun with our music, our rehearsals became like fun and shit. And once our rehearsals started becoming fun and shit, like the shows, it just like correlated and shit. It was like, all right, we're just gonna do it how we do in rehearsal. And that's literally how it happens and shit. And like I think the crowd just feeds off of that shit. Just pure energy on stage like that. Because like, I have ADHD and I got way too much energy in my shit. And so are my other, like, the rest of Loud Life. They're exactly the same as me. They literally ramble and talk a lot and they move around and shit a lot. So, like, when we hit the stage, it's literally, like, it don't matter. When we headline shows, we do hour-long sets exactly like how we do 15-minute set and shit. Just non-stop, like, going and shit.
And when you guys perform, I know all you guys are separate artists at the end of the day, but you also perform together also. Right. Do you guys perform as Loud Life crew?
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends, because there's certain shows, like, you know how, like, the politics of a lot of stuff, a lot of shows, they would just want, like, a singular artist, so they'll throw SwiZzy B on, but every single show I always bring them with me. So, like, regardless if the flyer says SwiZzy B or Loud Life crew, it's a Loud Life crew show, regardless and shit. It's just the behind the scenes of whatever, how that show got booked or whatever. But I'm
just wondering, like, do you guys perform under the name Loud Life?
Yeah. We definitely, like, our Young Dolph show when we did the Kurt Cobain's tour. We was about to do a tour with Riff Raff, and he literally canceled it because he got this movie role for Netflix or some shit. That was supposed to happen this year.
Really?
Yeah, I guess he's something about Spring Breakers 2 or some shit. Just leaked info right there. Just leaked that info right there. Yeah, Riff Raff is gonna be in that shit. So he canceled his whole. He had like 40 dates.
I fuck with that first movie.
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be
Vanessa Hudgens changed my whole outlook on her.
That's what I'm saying. And I guess that's what he was gonna do. So he canceled that whole shit. But like, I forgot the damn question.
What's next with SwiZzy B and Loud Life?
Well, right now we got 2 more shows with Snow the Product that we're gonna do. One in like Northern California, I think in Ventura.
And how did that link? How did that come about?
That happened.
You and Snow the Product.
So me, I've always been a fan of her since 2010. Like I thought she was dope because one, she's Spanish and shit, and I was the time of my life I was looking for just Spanish rappers and shit. Yeah, I'm Spanish, y'all. Like, so I found her.
You Puerto Rican?
Yeah, Puerto Rican. Okay, I ran across her.
Full Puerto Rican?
Yeah, 100% Puerto Rican. I ran across her, and she was full Mexican and shit, and I was like, oh, hard as fuck. And I heard her spit, and like it was like similar to how I spit and shit. And like ever since then, I just been a huge fucking fan of her shit, and like every mixtape she drops and all that. So long story short, when I moved to fucking Colorado and shit, she had a show coming. And this is in 2016. She had a show coming to the Black Sheep, which is like some hole in the wall fucking venue type shit. This is back when she was still like coming up and shit. I don't even think she had like 1 million followers on her Instagram or any of that shit yet. Okay. That's how like up and coming she still was. So I met her at like, I got a meet and greet ticket and I met her and shit. And I literally told her, I was like, yo, I've been fucking with you for so long. I'm literally gonna be on my music shit heavy starting this year. I promise you I'm gonna be opening up for you next year. She comes around and she was like, you stick to that and I'll make sure it'll happen and shit. So like I said, I was out there in 2016 and that's when I started getting the 0 shows and started going crazy and shit. Next year comes around, 2017, she comes back into town and shit, and literally I hit up the promoter that was doing it, and I was already doing so many shows with him, and I was selling my 50, 60 tickets every show that I was doing with him. So when Snow the Product came back around, I just hit him up, and that dude, he threw me on there just happily and shit. I didn't even have to sell tickets for it because the show was already sold out type shit. So it was literally just I fucks with you, get on the show and shit, and literally made that happen. Like I literally manifested that shit. So when I seen her in 2017, I literally had like, you know, the flyer and shit with us on it, and I was like, I told you I was gonna do it and shit. And I think that's when we literally made like our initial connection, because literally a week later she hit me up on Instagram and pulled me out to go do a show in North Carolina and shit. Same shit that we just happened this past month and shit. And that's how I had fans out there in North Carolina when everybody was going crazy. That was like, we knew half of those people there and shit because of the first time we was out there. But fucking we went out there, and then that's when I linked with her Vibe Hire crew, which is, she has a label and she has like artists under it, and I got music and collabs done with her artists and shit. So like it was just a slow growth. Anyways, the pandemic happened. She didn't tour for a long ass time. She was just dropping music videos, shit like that. Last year she started touring again. She ended up doing a show in Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, and St. Pete. And she put a post up saying, tag the Perfect Florida opener for me, and literally had like 1,000 people tag me in that bitch. SwiZzy B, SwiZzy B, SwiZzy B. And literally I was like, oh shit. So I ended up messaging her on Instagram like, yo, I'm getting tagged like crazy on your page. Like, what's up? And she ended up throwing me on the St. Pete show in Janice Live and shit, which was crazy. That was the outdoor joint that you were looking at, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
And that one was when we actually like plugged in, which was pretty much this past October and shit. And then I told her like, yo, I know you already got your artists and shit that actually go on tour with you and shit, but if there's any slots, any dates on your tour and shit, let me know. I'll fly and do them shit. And then sure enough, fucking tour came around. I hit her up and she put me on the Denver show, which was on my birthday. So that was like really dope for her to do that shit. And it was one of her biggest shows of her whole tour too, at this place called the Mission Ballroom. Holds like 5,000 people and shit. And that bitch almost sold out too. So it was just a nuts like birthday like experience. And then so it's crazy. I had like a ticket link or whatever and shit. Sold like 100 and something tickets for that show in Florida.
Yeah.
So I was in Florida. I didn't even have to leave and do anything, and people were just buying it from my personal link and shit. So it was like lit. So from that, she put me on the North Carolina show again. Fucking sold like 50 something tickets for that shit too, from Florida, same exact way. And now she's putting me on either, I don't know which one's next, the North Carolina or the Boise, Idaho one, or the Northern California one. But either way, we're literally doing like at least one or two more with her and shit. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure we're probably gonna do like a whole like run with her like later, like either fall or winter whenever she does her next shit.
Right.
Yeah. So this is like all like a slow build up and set up and kind of like showing my face to her fans and shit here and there. For something, it's building up for something like major and shit. I don't want to say too much.
That's
you know
dope.
what I'm saying? But like, it's definitely gonna be something raw as fuck, very like this year type shit.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, it's crazy how that all happened. Like I said, I've been fucking with her since 2010. Met her in 2016. Told her to her face I was gonna start working with her in 2017, and 2017 was the day, like was the year we literally started working and shit. So it was pretty crazy. That's why I was saying the self-belief shit. People think I'm crazy, like, bro, if you just believe in yourself, like it'll happen and shit. But people just really don't believe in themselves as much as like even some of the most egotistical people walk around that act like they believe in themselves and have this confidence. Like some of them same people deep down inside don't really believe in themselves like that. And like I think me personally, I have like such an abundance of confidence in myself that I'm literally kind of okay with like people not even noticing that shit. You know what I'm saying? And like a lot of like my homie was just telling me the other day, he's like, bro, you're too humble and shit. Like you need to be online talking your shit, telling niggas you on tour and doing all this crazy shit, and you need to be on like that, because if these other niggas was on that shit, they would be doing that shit. Yeah. And I was just like, bro, that's just not me. Like I made like a little Instagram post yesterday, and it made me feel kind of weird because it just felt like bragging and shit, and I'm not where I want to be personally. So it's like to be able to brag and shit on certain things just doesn't feel right for me, because it's like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like, I'm not even there. Like what I'm bragging about when I'm still trying to work and do so much more. Like, so I think it's like that mentality too. I think I'm a big dreamer. It's the ADHD inflated dreams.
As far as when it comes to music and making music, how do you go about like, you know, your creative process? I mean, I know you're saying you touch with the, you know, you write down, you know, poetry and stuff like that. Do you write and then you go find a beat, or you vibe to the beat? What do you do?
My creative process is so crazy. Like, so I work with a lot of producers and shit, so I got like tons of beats already. I really go based off of like the current mood that I'm in. A lot of times I don't even have like I'm gonna go sit down and write this song. Like I literally, it's like a certain mood that hits me. Like I don't know what it is. It's like a writing mood, but it's not like a certain like, oh, he's angry or he's sad, because it's different emotions when this feeling hits type shit. And like when that writing feeling hits, whatever emotion that I'm setting in, that's kind of where I go towards. And like I said, I have hundreds of beats. I produce my own shit too, so like whatever it kind of like guides, like I let the music guide me type of shit. Like whatever I feel like, if I feel like I should produce some shit off of the feelings that I have right now, then I'll start fucking hitting keys and shit. If I feel like I remember a beat that I heard and shit that I was listening to in the car and shit, I'll fucking grab that one and start writing and shit like that. But like I said, it's like so many. I have like, I'm pretty sure I'm bipolar. It's undiagnosed. So like when it comes to the creating, my shit is so everywhere with it. Like there's not like a certain like, oh, he has a certain sound or a certain niche. Like it's kind of all over the place. I'm screaming on one track, I'd be like singing on one track, really rapping like with bars on one track, just having fun like on another one. I think that's also what makes me like very diverse, but also what kind of like hinders people too, because it's like, oh, I don't know what's going on here type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Other than like, oh, I know what to expect when I put this nigga on, or this rapper or this singer on. It's like they don't know what to expect, but at the same time, the people that are fans of my music, like that's one of the favorites. That's like the best thing about me is like, oh, I literally don't know what he's gonna drop. It could literally be some hard 808s dropping hype shit, or it could literally be like some storytelling. He's literally talking about his life type shit, and like it just goes all over it. So it's a weird niche, like, and a weird core fan base that I have, but I think it's like it's literally the perfect one though.
Okay. And that's what. Yeah, what were you saying?
I was gonna say like Orlando too. Like I know earlier it sounded like Orlando doesn't fuck with me and shit. I got mad fans in Orlando. I didn't want to make it seem like that and shit. But like, you know what I mean as far as the majority and shit. Everybody loves fucking like a certain sound out here and shit.
Right.
Like your Kodak, and like there's a reason why I put Hot Boy as the top person and shit. There's like he's out there, he has like that certain sound, like a Florida sound.
And so let's talk about your music. You got anything dropping?
Yeah, I got 3 projects dropping actually. I got my Overworked and Underpaid 3 project, which is like my baby type thing. My first one was the first project I ever dropped on Apple Music, Spotify, and all that stuff. It was a little 7-song EP, and that was the first. And there was a song called Strangest Things on there that like went viral, did like 100,000 views on YouTube, has like 50,000 on like on Facebook, has like 250,000 on Apple Music, 150,000 on Spotify. So the numbers are crazy. I think it's over 1 million across all platforms type shit.
Yeah.
And so like that song was like really like some real shit too. I was like talking about how I was sleeping in my car and all that type of shit. So it was like really deep. But that song blew up, and I continued the series called Overworked and Underpaid 2, and then that one like did great. That's when I had the Snow the Products artist on that project, and that one did great. So this is like my 3rd installment. The last one I dropped was in 2018 and shit. So these were coming out back to back and just stopped in 2018. So this is like pretty big anticipated shit for the people that know like the series and shit.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, like I said, my core shit. It really talks about my life, everything that I'm going through currently, especially with the music shit and how hard and how the fucking hustle is and fucking crazy this shit is.
And that's it's a movie you're talking about, right?
Yeah, that was on
AJ Hearns.
Yeah, AJ Hearns. Yeah. That's who's touring with her literally right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Castro Escobar.
Yeah, he's actually no longer with that label.
Okay.
Yeah, but AJ Hearns, he's actually so fire. We actually got another new song in the works on top of that too. Ever since that song we did and shit. So like, look out for that one.
Okay.
But that's the main one that I wanted to get off. Then I got my group project. It's a group EP. It's going to be called Loud Nation. That's literally our first little group EP, like warming up before we drop like our first group album and shit. And then I have a whole experimental project called Ragers Only, which is like, it's like
I can already tell. Ragers Only.
It's the new shit. It's the new shit. It's the new wave of what we're doing and shit. From the production, from the vocals, the way it's getting mixed and mastered. Like, I don't know why, but like I'm so excited for that one to drop just because of how different that shit's gonna sound. And like, that one's gonna also be like our stadium arena, like music and shit. So when we do like our big shows, like that one's probably gonna snap and shit.
So let me ask you this: what do you think about the whole raging scene right now?
That's
like, I mean, you familiar with Too Young?
With who?
Too Young.
Too Young? Oh yeah.
2
4, 5, 8 Keys and all that.
Yeah, and all them. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I fucks with them.
What do you think about that whole wave, that whole movement?
Yeah, I love it personally. I'm a rager my damn self and shit. When it comes to skill level, of course, the skill level, is very fucking low. But it's not about skill when it comes to rager music. It's literally about the energy that's in the song. It's about putting an emotion into another person. And
wait. We can't say that now. Like Tyler can spit.
That's true.
Too Young can definitely spit.
Yeah. Well,
and 458 Keys can spit too.
so let me rephrase that.
No. I know you know.
Let me rephrase
but
that.
I just want to let
For
the people know. For the people, I'm trying to let the people know.
Yeah, no, well, for example, my Rangers Only shit, that shit is a very low skill level.
Yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say? So I'm not hating on that.
No.
At all type
I
shit.
want the people to know that.
Yeah, it's definitely, and you know, like I said, I fucks with Tyler, Too Young, and I love like what they're doing and shit. And you know what's crazy? Too Young hits that shit perfect too. Like, he had this song, what was that shit called? Bright.
Oh,
like,
Bright, that's my shit. That is my shit.
That shit was fire, bro. I was like, yeah, that was the one. So like, I definitely fuck with them and shit. But I was just talking in general, like, you know, like the lyricism, the lyrical schmirical type shit isn't there and shit. And I think that's really why it's gonna be great, because like I'm really enjoying like having fun. The beats are fucking crazy. Like, you know who Yeet is?
Yeet? Nah,
No, it's a new Rager shit. Or how about a 17-year-old kid called Can? Well, I'm gonna send you some links.
You gotta put me on.
This is some new shit. September's Rich or any of these? These are like the new underground. This is the underground. This is the new
must
underground.
Be really
shit.
Underground. So
No, trust me. Now you're gonna hear that and you're gonna kind of see where I'm going with it and shit.
Okay.
Because it's not Playboy Cardi, but it's like it's in that lane though.
Yeah,
it is in that lane, but it's not like. No, it's just so different. It's not vamp shit. It's gonna be hard, and I'm excited for that one. I already got like 3 songs already recorded for it and shit. I'll show you after the interview and shit. But yeah, it's gonna be lit as fuck. I actually performed one of them at the Snow Show, which is the one where I think everybody was fucking jumping around and they were screaming. It was like, "Shut the fuck up!"
Oh yeah.
That was actually one of them right there that I performed and shit.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like shit like that, and yeah, the Rangers Only shit's gonna be tight. 458 Keys and Too Young, I really fuck with their music and their fucking like just outside of just them and shit. That whole scene is like really dope to me, because like when mumble rap first came out, I wasn't really a fan of it because I didn't really understand it and shit. Yeah. But like now I'm more open-minded. I feel like I think is what it was, because you know how I was telling you, like my roots is really from like I'm gonna try to spit the fastest and the coldest bars that no one's heard of and shit. So like coming from that to like hearing fucking Lil Pump and shit, I was like, fuck that. And then like, you know what I'm saying? Like I literally grew to like all that shit. Now I love fucking Lil Pump and shit. Yeah. I just did a show with Smoke Perp, you know what I'm saying? So fucking, it's just weird, the evolution of the mind and shit. That's all that happened to me with that shit. And like when I hear people like taking their art and doing something different, I really fuck with that shit. Yeah. Like everybody can rap and rhyme and shit. Like everybody can rhyme and shit. But when it comes to like creating something new, which is what Too Young and 458 Keys and everybody's doing, that's really why I wanted to do it, because it's like it's different, it's experimental and shit. Like why wouldn't you want to be different? You know what I'm saying? So it's really dope. And just what I got going on personally, it just sounds, it's not like anybody else's shit. So that's why I'm really fucking excited about it. And just the way I perform and like the people that already heard certain of the song, everybody's just telling me that's like my lane of shit. So like I'm really excited to put it out to the public type shit. I am planning a fall tour and shit, low key. But that all depends on this whole Snow the Product situation too, though, because like if she's doing, I'm gonna hop on her shit.
Is that tour gonna be like kind of like a regional thing, or are you trying to spread out?
Well, I definitely spread it out. Like the last tour we did was 10 cities and shit. 4 of them were in Montana. We did the Boise, Idaho shit, which is crazy because the one we did in Boise, Idaho was the same exact venue that we're going to with Snow the Product again. Okay. So it's like they already know us there and shit too. But what else did we did? We had the Sanford, Florida one. We had a St. Louis one and shit. They were all good. I think the smallest show was 150 people. Okay. And that was in like St. Louis. And that was our first show we ever did there too.
Have y'all been out to New Mexico?
Not yet. We have this festival, I think in Albuquerque, right? Albuquerque, New Mexico. Okay, yeah, so in Albuquerque, New Mexico, we had this festival in like literally like 3 weeks actually, like May 26th or something. It's called Tacos and Tequila Festival. Bone Thugs and Harmony is going to be there. Twist is going to be on there. Cap G's on there. A couple other artists and shit's going to be on there, but we're performing at that shit. It's going to be, they said it's going to be like 3,000-4,000 people there, so it should be lit.
There's a guy out there, he go by Cowboy Killer.
Cowboy Killer. Why does that sound familiar?
Me and link up with Cowboy Killer. I'm
You know
telling
him?
that boy. I don't know him personally. We messaged back and forth
Okay, yeah.
a couple times, but like his music fire.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to work with. People on their music.
Cowboy
shit.
Killer. I think that would be a dope
Hell yeah.
between both of y'all. Yeah,
That's tight.
man.
That's dope. But you fucks with the Ranger shit?
Of course.
Yeah, okay, but yeah. Because you asked me and I didn't catch the vibe if you fuck with it.
No. I fuck with it.
Yeah, until I brought up Bite and shit, and then I was
Oh,
like, okay.
Bite, yeah, of course.
Yeah, that was hard.
But yeah,
yes, and that's what I'm saying. He got the vocals like, fuck the lyrics and the lyricism and all the extra shit. Like, bruh, the vocals and the shit, the way to make certain shit sound a certain way, that's talent and a skill level in itself and shit. And I think a lot of people, like, especially a lot of the older heads, they don't really like understand that, or like if they do understand it, don't respect it and shit because it's not fucking lyrical and shit. And I used to be the same way. I'm not even old.
Nah, but
just open your minds. Music is music. It's not supposed to be a certain way. You know what I'm saying?
there's this one song, bro. Oh, Before I Die. That shit hard. I don't know if you heard that yet. But Fashion Bandit.
Oh yeah, I did hear
Fashion
I heard
Bandit.
Fashion Bandit.
That shit. that definitely made my playlist.
That's gas. Yeah.
But,
I'm surprised. I don't know. I thought 458 Keys. Like, this is what I'm trying to say, yo. 458 Keys on No Jumper doing all this stuff, and like they treat him like he ain't nobody.
Yep.
And I'm gonna just keep it real. Like, it's fucked up. It's fucked up, yo. Because people really be out here working, and just because they don't have the 100K fake ass followers and all that bullshit, like people don't be taken serious and shit. Cause it just sucks. It just sucks, yo.
Yeah.
It sucks, yo. I think putting egos aside, because if there was other artists helping other artists too, even at that point it would be a better thing. But it's like everybody's in it for themselves, which I get it. It's a dog-eat-dog world and shit. But at the same time, teamwork makes the dream work. Like, I don't know. It's all perspective.
Then,
You heard Kendrick's new shit?
I haven't heard his new shit yet.
It's all it's all perspective, yo.
But
It's all perspective.
But the track I wanted to mention was Close Case with Too Young. Close Case.
I haven't heard that one.
You haven't heard that one? I'm in the music video.
Oh, okay. I want to check that out.
I'm the bodyguard in the back.
No way. All right,
Yeah.
I'll check it. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah.
That's lit. I need you in one of my videos. You know, I be shooting my own videos and editing them now. I think I sent you one. Yeah. I just dropped my third one, and I think that was the one.
Oh, the one that was in the
Letter to the Devil.
Yeah, the one in the kitchen, right? You were in the kitchen?
Dropped another one.
You dropped another one?
I did edit and shoot that one though.
That's the one. That's the one you sent me though. I don't think you sent me the other one.
Yeah, I don't think I did actually. Yeah, I just dropped another one. So my goal is to drop a music video every other week.
Yeah.
And just shit out all my music videos. I got so much music that it's like I might as well put a visual to all of them. And then I just got the Premiere Pro, the After Effects, and like all these little tech packs. So I'm literally sitting there YouTube and shit, editing my own shit right now. This third one, like if you thought the kitchen was hard, this one's gonna blow your whole shit back. You're gonna be like, you did not edit that shit. I promise you. And I was like, yes, I did.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
We're definitely gonna. I'm definitely gonna watch that.
Yeah, it's hard.
But,
it's a good song too. It's not like a hype or trap song. It's like more like what I was telling you. It's off of Overworked and Underpaid too. Yeah. So it's like that vibe of like storytelling, like real life struggles that I be going through type shit. But it's really dope. Like the way that shit's put together. And the concept of it is just fire. And the video even too when we shot that shit. My girl shoots all my videos.
That's dope.
Like the concert shits you be seeing, that's her shooting them shit.
Okay. Oh, so she be going out with the tour with you guys?
Yeah. As much as she can and shit.
Okay.
Because she got her own like money flow that she be doing and shit too. But as much as she possibly like the Snow the Product show, she never misses a Snow because one, she's a fan and shit, and two, she knows how important that shit is for me, so she makes sure she's at those. But like when we went on our 10-city tour, she like only made it to like 3 or 4 shows, and we've been to these cities before, so we already knew so many videographers and photographers that it was cool and shit. We didn't really like need her and shit, but that's our in-house for sure. Like everywhere, like I got so many like radio interviews and behind the scenes footage and pictures, like so much shit that I've never like released to the public yet, just because she's been there, just recorded everything, so like
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, she got that camera just a couple years ago too. Didn't know shit about it, and we just picked it up, started doing photography, and we're just learning video this year and shit.
Well, SwiZzy B.
Yes, thank you for having me. I hope nobody gets mad at me.
Nah, you good, man. I wish you blessing and prosperity.
Yes,
And
thank you.
everything
You
do,
too.
man. Appreciate that. For real. Man. I'm trying.
We need more people like you. Because people, like I said, if you ain't fucking with us, you be fucking with us.
Yeah.
So like G Wiz, you know, people don't be fucking with G Wiz. They need to be fucking with G Wiz because he's cold. And it's just,
G Wiz is cold, man.
That's what I'm just saying, bro. Just put some respect on some of the people that are really working. Fuck the followers and shit. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Listen to the music. Have your own opinion for something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't just look at something that's popping and be like, I fucks with that. Like, have your own, be yourself. Like, have your own mind and shit. All right, I'll leave y'all with that.
All right, we out.